Lenovo goes all in with the ThinkPad X1 Yoga 20 FRS1 vs 00. The icing on the cake is the OLED screen. Our review update will find out how the flagship convertible from Lenovo performs. The X1 Yoga is a convincing overall package. It is the combination of Lenovo's main innovation drivers, the ThinkPad X1 and Yoga. Well, that depends on what kind of device you want. If you prefer a 14-inch convertible with Yoga features that is as light as possible, the answer is definitely yes. Build quality, the integrated Wacom stylus, keyboard and mouse replacement are strengths of the X1 Yoga, just like the handy lift and lock mechanism, which locks the keyboard in tablet mode. The highlight of our review unit is obviously the OLED screen, a feature where Lenovo is currently without competition within the business segment. It also removes one of the biggest problems from the first review unit, because the optional IPS-WQHD display is not bad, but rather mediocre when you consider the high price of the device. The OLED screen also has some drawbacks. The outdoor capabilities in particular are heavily affected by the glossy display surface, and the luminance is not sufficient to compensate annoying reflections. The OLED panel also adds to the battery problems of the X1 Yoga a bit, which was already criticized in our first review. The X1 Yoga with the OLED panel might mark the dawn of a new golden era for display enthusiasts. The X1 Yoga is already an expensive device and does not get cheaper with the OLED screen, which might be the biggest drawback of the convertible. We already mentioned there is currently no rival for the X1 Yoga OLED in the business segment. The only other announced OLED notebooks are primarily consumer devices, even though the HP Spectre X360 convertible with OLED is actually a competitor for the X1 Yoga. The Dell Alienware 13 with OLED on the other hand targets a completely different group of customers. If you do not need OLED and want a convertible with a good IPS display, the Microsoft Surface Book is a strong rival for the X1 Yoga. Thanks to its very bright screen, you can also use it outdoors, and the 3:2 aspect ratio is better for tablet operation. However, it is also much heavier than the X1 Yoga and the price is similarly high. If you just want a good and light notebook, the competition is much bigger. Suitable devices would be the Dell XPS 13 as well as the HP EliteBook 1040 G3 as business rivals, but also Lenovo's own ThinkPad X1 Carbon, which even managed a better overall score than its convertible sibling. The latter is unfortunately not available with an OLED screen. Finally, we can have a look at the possibilities of OLED. Our review shows the technology is particularly interesting for multimedia and gaming devices. The Alienware 13 with OLED will be an interesting device in this respect. We can only hope that the X1 Yoga is only the first example of many upcoming OLED notebooks. OLED has the potential to replace LCD displays, at least in the high-end segment.